There we go. Good morning. Welcome to another stream of Lyrebird Edits. Just gonna start by changing the zoom. There we go. Good. Hi. First, huzzah! You were first in several successions. So congratulations to Outrider SG, who is my inaugural first winner. I wish I had some sort of virtual currency to give you, but you'll have to just settle for like a kiwi or a kudos or take your pick, either one. But either way, you are the first. Hey PumpkinPieAddict, good to see you. Looking forward to doing your story today. And what was I going to say? Top of the morning to you. You too, Ernst Herringbone. It's good to see you again. What was I going to say? Thank you for being patient with me as I juggled the stream on Thursday evening back into this time slot here. I just felt like I needed a night off. You know how you're in one of those moods where it's kind of 50-50? And I sort of felt like I could give a better chunk of my effort if I just took the night off and pushed it back into a day where I felt like I was more mentally prepared for editing. So thank you for being understanding. What did I end up doing on Thursday night? This is PhD brain. There's nothing works up in between my ears anymore. It's just mush. Hey, Ready Bread. That's good to have you here. We can catch each other live. I guess we're both live technically. Yeah. Welcome back. Chicken wraps again. I envy you. Are they tendies? I don't feel good bringing up that meme, but just because the implication, I wasn't casting any aspersions on your choice of chicken filling, or you as a human being. I just wanted to know if they were tendies. You're an AI, Brady Bread. You're a very friendly, very chatty AI. Ah, I wonder, like the revenge of the beef wraps. Yeah, I sort of felt. Actually, I did have something very spicy, and I wonder if it wasn't that again. Maybe. Re-oiling the machine, obviously. Obviously, right? We all need some time to de-stress slash re-oil, de-oil, re-oil. I'm not sure. Anyway. Oh, sorry, TTLCC, you were saying the that you were not you yourself making chicken wraps, but like my absence was caused by chicken wraps. But then you said beef wraps. Yeah, that's right. I'm on your wavelength now. I'm on your wavelength. Sorry, I thought you were sharing with us your culinary delights. I was thinking, oh, chicken wraps sound nice. It was the beef wrap. It was a Thai beef wrap that got me sick last time. Yep. Yep. So this is 9 a.m. Sunday morning Lyrebird. I take a little while to understand what people say. I'm actually quite stupid. And now that we've established my level of competency, why don't we dive into the edit? That's what we're all here for. Let me... 150% double spaced. Yeah, I think that's nice and legible. So we're going to be dealing with Pumpkin Pie Addict's story today. They are interesting margins, don't you mention it? They're quite narrow. I don't hate it. It's quite wide. You could I can't edit. No, I can only suggest. If you justify it, that might be nice too. Like this bad boy slash girl here. Justify Control Shift J. It brings all the text out to the absolute margins. Done for spec. Okay, interesting. Yeah. Justifying the text always makes it nice and sort of clean. It clips off on the side. Coming. Dog. We are slaves to our animals. Yeah, we totally are. Yeah, you can see her. No, you can't. If you hear any loud snoring during the stream, it's it's her. Um, yeah. Okay, cool. Done to spec for a manuscript. Interesting. So this is 20,000 words, and I hate to break it to you, I'm not going to do all 20,000, but I will do a sizable chunk over successive streams. So this is PumpkinPieAddict's story. Um, Now, I've actually edited PumpkinPieAddict's work once before on the stream, but it was like it was a vertical slice. I remember, that's what we declared it. It was a slice of chapter. Oh gosh, I don't really remember what it was. PPA, do you remember what it was? I think it was 17 or something. It was pretty deep into the story. And that was many months ago. So now we're going to be doing chapter 1, going back to the beginning. Okay, let's start. We've got chapter 1. He's a PP. Uh-oh, I'll have to put the not safe for work tag on my stream. Um, Somewhere in Act 3. Cool. Alrighty, I feel like I'm missing something. And then demonetized. No, I need my precious money. Um, Support my Patreon. Hmm. And then demonized. Very good. Chapter 1, Cabin in the Woods, 72 hours to deadline. I don't think we need a synopsis. Let's dive right in. The words no one wants to hear at 2 in the morning. Breach on my mark, Sergeant Wright shouted, followed by a cough into his sleeve. 5 guards in black riot gear ran out of the North Albertian woods, the North Albertian woods, and towards a log cabin with assault rifles drawn. One slapped a square, red brick-sized package on the door. It read, "Property of CIA." Wright continued wheezing into his sleeve. The smell of the pine trees didn't mix well with his advanced smoker's lungs. It was as though each breath pried their fingers into his chest and gave an ill-advised scratch. He reached into the pockets of his tattered black trench coat with ruby red innards and fiddled around. His fingers pushed past various trinkets until they nabbed a lone cigar. He brought it under his nose. The leather of his fingerless gloves, mixed with the scent of aged tobacco, stopped his wheezing. It was just enough to relax Sergeant Wright. With 2 decades of bounty hunting to his name, a cigar was his only friend. Oh, that's kind of sad. We'll be home soon, Wright thought. His hands shook as the cigar reached his lips. It was as though his body was telling him, "One smoke, it won't hurt you. It won't hurt you." Instead, he put the cigar back into his pocket and retrieved a flashlight. Spring's moonlight illuminated the forest around him. Wright couldn't see the stars amidst the long and wild trees. "I said breach, damn it," Wright shouted again. Hmm. Already got some good little pointers flowing in. I'll read a bit more and then we can go back and deal with the line by line stuff. But yeah, cut square. Where was the square again? Sorry, I just contradicted myself. Yep, I agree. But I'll come back to it in a moment. The red brick attached to the front door exploded, shaking the ground and sending chunks of door flying. Wright walked through wisps of smoke as he entered the cabin, followed by his guards. He turned on his flashlight and whiffed the odor in the cabin. It smelled like someone had died. His flashlight landed on multiple bowls of half-eaten food and unwashed plates. Wright stomped around the cabin with his muddy feet as his guards circled him, guns at the ready. He bent over and found a half-torn, blue-patterned couch. The stuffing was ripped to pieces as though a knife had slashed through it. Did someone beat us to him? Wright moved his flashlight to the cabin's side window. He watched the rain pour onto the smatterings of tall grass outside. His guards continued searching the house, but Wright kept his flashlight on the window, not blinking. He didn't blink. He saw a shuffle in the bushes and smirked. He coughed again and pointed the guards towards the window. Two of the guards pointed their guns towards the window. The other three remained on right. Let's cut there, and we'll go back and jump into this first page. So yeah, I agree with Ernst. We've got quite a nice sort of chunk of character intro here, which is really nice to see. It's good to either ground the beginning of your story with a sense of who the character is, and having them do something is a really nice way to show particular character quirks. And in this case here, it's the care that he takes in pulling up the cigar and talking to himself about it, and that seems to be like the sort of character quirk. It's a really nice way to begin a story because that gives you something in a very short space for you to hang on to, for you as a reader to understand more about the character. I think it is, yeah, compound down? I suppose so, yeah. All good, Outrider. No, thank you for the the suggestion on the square red brick. I actually agree. I think it'd be neater if you get rid of the description of what it's shaped like and just put red brick shaped package. Bricks, because bricks are rectangular too. You don't want to or like rectangularly prismic. They're boxes. They're boxes. So I mean, you can have square bricks. Don't let me stop you from making square bricks. But yeah, usually they're not exactly square. Yeah, I agree with Outrider. This point here, exactly. Good. So, the overall impressions I get from this are there are a couple of places where the sentences are joined by commas and then need to be cut and made into two. And there are a few other places where I would like the description to be slightly tighter. So with those two things in mind, let's... Classic morning brain, I feel ya. Yeah. So let's start again. The words no one wants to hear at 2 in the morning. I like this as an opener. And you could even play with it by putting a colon there, or putting these other words. It doesn't really matter, both of these changes are a bit light. But I just wanted to see what it would look like if we changed it. These are the words no one wants to hear at 2 in the morning. Breach on my mark, Sergeant Wright shouted, followed by a cog into his sleeve. 5 guards in black riot. I think this works as an opener. For me, I suspend myself long enough through the opening sections of a story, waiting for grounding, so I'm used to doing that as a reader. I think this is one of those times where you can play into that a little bit by having quite a specific opener, but something that you intuitively understand what's going on. Just with things like breach on my mark, the sergeant followed by a cough into his sleeve. The dialogue here is back-ended, and I usually have a bit of a fit when people do that. But it's justified here having it back-ended because we've got, these are the words no one wants to hear. I immediately want the words, Sergeant blah 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 shouted, followed by cog into his sleeve. So I think that's fine having the dialogue here and the tag here. I'm always a bit confused. One thing I've never really got my head around, despite doing this for a year and despite being a writer forever, is the conventions between like exclamation marks and dialogue tags. I treat them like commas if it's in this kind of structure, but I don't know if it's strictly speaking correct. If anyone here has like a hard and fast rule about whether or not you can justify a non-comma end to the dialogue being treated like this. I think it's fine, but maybe another editor with a bit more, a slightly more solid grasp on the fundamentals may have something to say about that tiny point though. Yeah, I was thinking like breach on my mark, in the same vein as outright SG, or on my mark, breach, breach on my mark. Yeah, breach on that looks nice. Maybe put a comma there. Um, hmm. Yeah, interesting. Herringbone's thoughts here were that because we've had the sergeant shouting, and then immediately following into five guards, Ernst has said that they were primed to have a different understanding of who the POW, the POV, and who it would be told through. I felt that a little bit too when I read it first way through. Um, and then I very quickly switched out back into right with this one here. Because it's so quick, I think we can justify not changing it too much. But the longer that you don't get to the meat of who is actually the point of view character, the harder it is to justify. But I think this is okay in terms of how it gets to the point of view character. But that's a really good thought because that helps us judge whether or not we are introducing the story in the correct way. Five guards in black riot gear ran out of the North Albertian woods and towards the log cabin with assault rifles drawn. I like that more the second time I've read it. Five guards in black riot gear ran out of the information woods and towards the log cabin with assault rifles drawn. One slept. Here, I may be contradicting myself with okay, here's a suggestion that combines what Ernst was saying and what I want to talk about now, which is that this is a little too quick between here and here, and I want a sentence that's something like Reitge, right, Ritge. This a sentence like this. Again, it's as with everything I type over stories. It's all placeholder, so the exact words, the exact thing that happens doesn't really matter. What does matter though is that this bridges two gaps here that I felt needed to be addressed. One was Ernst Herring's suggestion of that we didn't really know who was the focalized point of the story. With a sentence like this, we get a sense that it's right. And also, we slow down the pace just a little bit so that the men they walk towards the log cabin with their rifles drawn. They carve through the path, and crucially, we carve through the path. They carve a path there, but crucially, we've also got elements of the weather too. This is something that's addressed a bit later on. So good moment to establish the climate. Oh, it's really the weather, not the climate. Climate is long term. So you want to establish the weather and the time of day. Except we've got time of day here, so we just need weather. And also, this here shows us who the POV character is. Just to reiterate, this sentence you can reconfigure into anything you like. I've made it a bit redundant with them moving towards the cabin, moving towards the cabin. Just pieces 2 words. Yeah, so again, placeholder. If you don't like any of this, just get rid of it. It is a bit redundant from my part with being like towards the log cabin and then just going towards it again. But you can be a bit more creative with the setting, and I think that's what we need. Just one thing. I think cutting the from the words no one would be snappier. So these are words no one wants to hear at 2 in the morning. Yeah, I'll let PPA decide whether he wants to keep that one or not. I put it in. I don't mind it. Yeah. Oh, actually, original draft. Hmm. Cut towards log cabin. Yeah, the objective in my head is to grab Perudo. Yep, I think that's everything. Slow it down a bit here. Yeah. Hmm. Right. So you've kind of reversed the formula. You've got action, info, action. The only reason I suggest real or like having a little placeholder is just to give us a bit more of an establishment of where we are in a scene. You're more than welcome to jump back and forward. I think that's quite a good thing to do. We need a bit more meat on the bones though of the first element if we're going to jump back to it. Just a sentence. It doesn't even need to be this crazy monster that I've written. Just something a bit more yeah, just something about like a little bit more visceral. Um, I like how sort of tongue-in-cheek this is property of CIA because it tells you a couple of things and um, hmm. Good. Wright continued wheezing into his sleep. The smell of the pine trees didn't mix well with his advanced smoker's lung. Okay, this one here needs to be a full stop. Um, also be mindful of this was as though. Let me highlight it in yellow because you've got it here and you've got it here as well. These are stumbling blocks. Here's what happens if you get rid of it. It was as though each breath pried their fingers. For me, is like there are lots of little stops along that sentence, but if you cut it back and change it to each breath pried their fingers into his chest and gave an ill-advised scratch, that reads a lot better. Pried their fingers I don't particularly like though. I like the personification, but I think we can make it a little stronger. Each breath. What about reached? Sometimes. Why did I suggest that? Mainly because of the there. You can personify without using a pronoun, and I think there as a collective pronoun or as a genderless pronoun, maybe combined in this case, make it a bit clumsy to push the image. So I recommend cutting that back. Each breath reached into his chest and gave an ill-advised scratch, or each breath swam, dived, dove, climbed, crawled. You can do anything here. But pried their fingers is maybe a little. Hmm. 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 So Ernst, sorry, not Ernst. This is Outrider. Outrider was saying, it's really good to sort of cut back on the seams or almost appear nearly. Yep, I agree 100%. There are very few small cases where things can seem if you want to really introduce uncertainty, but usually you just cut it out and it lifts the quality of the sentence so much. Yeah, exactly. Don't hedge. He didn't appear to. He just did it. Yeah, bastardizing a famous author's advice. Well, it's good advice. Told expertly, Outrider SG, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. There's no bastardization there at all. Except for that Z you got there. That's a bastardization of the English language. But I respect your different culture, your strange culture. Culture. I can hardly talk, I don't really have one. Fighting words. Oh, it's on. It's on. He reached into the pockets of his tattered black trench coat. You need a comma between tattered and black if you want to have a stack of adjectives. With ruby red innards and fiddled around. This sentence I think is maybe a little too ornate. But no! No! Absolutely not with the Z's. He reached into the pockets of his tattered black trench coat with ruby red innards. You want to say that the lining of his coat is ruby red, but this sentence technically means he reached into the pockets of his tattered trench coat with ruby red innards. Tattered black. Oh, it's one of those sort of weird. It can go either way, maybe. Regardless, you don't want your reader to get the impression that he has ruby red innards for fingers and he's reaching into his jacket. That's what I imagined first when I read this sentence. He reached into the pockets of his tattered black trench coat and fiddled around. If we really need to say that it's ruby red, like pick one or the other, I think you don't need to pile up the descriptions just yet. Or its innards were ruby red. You could say that, but then we get into the territory of just declaring stock descriptions of items, which I never think is a particularly strong way to do things. You can always weave it into actions, like what PPA has done here. The trouble with this sentence is that there are two of them. Excuse me. Time to make him a ruby dealer. Yes, good. Take this in a new direction. His fingers pushed past various trinkets until they nabbed a lone cigar. You could cut that back and say, eventually he found what he was searching for, M dash a lone cigar dash, and he brought it up to his nose. It's I can live with the various trinkets until they nabbed a lone cigar. The leather of his fingerless gloves, mixed with the scent of aged tobacco, stopped his wheezing. The leather of his fingerless gloves mixed. The subject of this sentence is the leather stopped his wheezing. So you need to say, what about something like, that smell. Aged tobacco. Was enough to stop his wheezing. You need to make it sort of a little more active. This is personal flavoring that I've put in. I don't know if your narrator wants to inject that kind of personal level into the narrative. If not, then you can just get rid of it. That's your call, so I may even just get rid of it. It was just enough to relax Sergeant Wright. With 2 decades of bounty hunting to his name, a cigar was his only friend. Oh, this made me sad when I first read it. Can I put true companion instead of friend? Why am I suggesting that? You want to sort of say that it's like an acquaintance to his activities. Friend implies that... Oh, friend implies that he's a bit of a loner, which you could do. Yeah, friend could work. I like true companion, but if you want to do friend, Outrider SG suggests companion, no true, either way. But I'll let PPA decide whether... I'll put a comment here. Companion could also work, as it's a little... It's a little more aloof and manly. It's like yeah, cold, I suppose. We'll be home soon, right thought. You can even get rid of that. Usually when you have italicized words, they indicate thoughts. I need a little more here. We'll be home soon. He's running through the checklist of success of what this mission means. We'll be home soon. I just want something a little more to make it a bit more comfortable to stand on its own. Regardless of if you want to keep this or not, I suggest adding this anyway. And that way it fleshes it out a bit more. I think I agree, Outrider. In which case I'll put that back in. Can I not get rid of it? There we go. Yep, just a suggestion there. Good. It was as though... here we go. His hand shook as the cigar reached his lips. It was as though his body was telling him one smoke. So again, get rid of it. His body was telling him one smoke, it won't hurt you. Instead, he put the cigar back into his pocket and retrieved a flashlight. Spring's moonlight illuminated the forest around him. So he retrieves a flashlight despite the spring's moonlight illuminating the forest around him. So these two, this action versus or against this description actually it doesn't slightly contradict, it contradicts. The reader must be thinking, why is he pulling out a flashlight if he can see from the moonlight? So simple fix, just add a bit of internalized narration here about even though he couldn't, or despite spring's moonlight filling the forest around him, illuminating I think you got right, couldn't see the stars amidst the long and wild trees. I don't know if that fits with what you're going for here. I said breach, comma, damn it, Ratch shouted again. What prompts him to say this? His men lollygagging. Lollygagging. Include the need for a flashlight, I listed earlier. Cool, yeah. I think you can. Remember up here in the snow and sleet? In this sentence here, you're more than welcome to add a bit of darkness. So it's placeholder text. Maybe we can... Perhaps we can describe the state of visibility. Good. Ooh. His nerves are saying in chorus, one smoke, it won't hurt you. That's really nice. I like that. So, I'll steal it. Copy. Outrider SG suggests something like that. I like that. I like how Um, the sort of personification that goes on there. I like it too. He likes how the floor looks. I was moving my power board. I don't want to accidentally touch it again. We all know what happens when my feet get too close to that reset switch. The red brick attached to the front door exploded, shaking the ground and sending chunks of door flying. Slight pacing here. Slow it down a little bit. Get to why he's shouting again, and then maybe like a little moment of anticipation. And by a little moment, I mean a sentence. The red brick attached to the front door exploded, shaking the ground and sending chunks of door flying. If you want to be a bit more ornate about the explosion, the red brick attached to the front door, you could even reverse it and say the front door exploded and sent chunks of it flying. Or the red brick exploded and sent chunks of it flying. You can rearrange it to your taste, but it's not a huge issue. Wright walked through wisps of smoke as he entered the cabin, followed by his guards. His guards should probably go in first. There's a point man. In these sorts of operations, there's usually a point man whose job it is to leave a team inside. It would be odd for the sergeant to go in guns blazing himself, so perhaps just have his guards go in first and then Wright coming in behind them. You can describe like you can describe them moving like shadows into the billowing smoke with their torches kind of battling with the debris, that sort of thing. We can really play this to our advantage. Yep. That's a good point, Outrider. If you want Wright to take point, despite his rank, that could be an interesting character thing. But either way, we need we need a clarification here. Or Wright could be taking point on his own volition, despite rank. Outrider SG again. He returned to his flashlight and whiffed the odor in the cabin. So, for instance, Wright walked through the wisps of smoke is a bit of a clunky. This is a tad clunky, but I think the scene could be served a little better if we had some more visceral description. Like, for instance, something like this. The thing has blown off the front door. Like shadows, the guards trickle through the mess of smoke. Oh, the searchlight's battling hard against the billowing smog of destruction, or something like that. You don't have to be as ornate. Deconstruction. Wright stepped through the threshold and turned on his flashlight. A whiff of death overtook his something like that, for instance, may push these couple of sentences from being merely Wright's doing this, then he's doing that, then he's doing that. You can really weave a scene. You can paint what it must be like for Wright to be there. He turned on his flashlight and whiffed the odor in the cabin. I would rather have the overwhelm him rather than Wright sort of sniffing the air like a bloodhound. It doesn't sort of. I mean, he could be doing it consciously. Maybe trained to do that, to pick up on signals and cues, but it may be a bit more stronger if the odor overwhelms him. That's a good point Ernst Herringbone about with the odor you can remove in the cabin. Or just say in the air. Either way, I think you can replace that with a whiff of death overtook his nose, or a whiff of death overcame him. I think that would be a bit stronger rather than having him actively smell. It smelled like someone had died, which is the same impression that you can get with a whiff of death overtook his nose. So you can do a 2-for-1 in one description. His flashlight landed on multiple bowls of half-eaten food and almost plates, so he must be in the kitchen, obviously. Wright, or the lounge room. Wright stomped around the cabin with his muddy feet as his guards circled him, guns at the ready. He bent over and found a half-torn blue-patterned couch. The stuffing was ripped to pieces as though a knife had slashed through it. So we need a full stop there, and like that. Just be careful here with your full stops. Occasionally they, sorry, with your commas. Sometimes a few sentences need to be cut in half because they're linked with commas, but they should just be their own sentences. This would be an ideal place for a semicolon, but it's not justified there. They're unlinked sentences. He bent over and found a half-torn blue-patterned couch. And found... this... maybe have him stumble into the couch. Or... I'm not sure what else you could do here. It's a bit of a funny expression to bend over and discover a couch. I like that detail about the stuffing being ripped out of it. That is a does sicken boys. I think that is a racial slur. Hang on. Actually, a racial slur in my country, but not yours. Also a brand of cheese in my country. We're a funny place. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, isn't that funny? I don't think there's the same like stigma over saying the word out loud as other particular racial slurs. But yeah, it's funny that the auto mod picked it up. It could be a raccoon who has done this damage in the cabin. So why didn't it block TTLACC from saying it? Maybe it just thinks, oh, hang on, here we go. Oh, it's given me the opportunity to deny it. I'll allow it. I will allow it. There we go. Yeah, it places it in my queue. Thanks for your feedback, says Automod. Oh no, Automod's gonna think I'm racist. I swear, Automod, it's just raccoons and cheese. That's what we're talking about. That's all. You get out of here with that racial slur, I won't say it out loud, Outrider SG, but it's very offensive. 2.0. What did, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he did. Yep. I knew my story would inspire some racial slurs. That's interesting. Just had a feeling it would just bring out the racism in Lyrebird. He did say that word over live stream. I think like as a matter of common courtesy and respect, you should probably not use words that um you know do really have that kind of weight to them. Um, I don't think it's really necessary. Using it within a story is that's a whole other kettle of fish. I've been thinking about that quite a lot recently, actually. Hmm. Maybe we can have that chat over on Discord, in a place that's slightly more um, less incriminating of anyone who may or may not want to share an idea. I don't know. It's one of those things that's sort of fraught with difficulty, isn't it? But if you want to have a very academic and descry a very academic and dry discussion on the use of racial slurs in stories, we can do it on Discord, where we can pretend like we're all English academics and write a very sensibly worded paper about this. Table here? Oh, that's a Wow, sorry, that's an emoji. I was like, whose table here? Also, hi, Octavian Memories. Hi. I don't think I don't think you've said anything in the chat box today. Were you talking about over Discord? But yeah, welcome back. The Lyrebird says he's racist rants for Discord. I'm not racist, I swear. Particularly against the minion race. Is it racist to hate minions? Well, if it is, sign me up. I'm a bona fide racist against minions. Real told me you read her favorite. Real? The One Piece one. Oh yeah, yeah. I was wondering what that thing was in my corner of my. Oh yeah, hi. That was on Monday. Sorry, Octavia. I do not check my whispers very much at all. Discord is better. Sorry. I only go onto Twitch when I stream. Hit me up on Discord if you need to chat with me, okay? It's just as good. Oh dear. I think we're gonna have a Sayaka / Octavian Memories fan fiction off. You don't say, yep. All I'm saying is that I have a lovely Discord that you could use. Yeah. Wow, we got derailed really easily there from the use of that word. Oh, coon is also a name for the Maine Coon, which is a type of cat. My uncle had a Maine Coon. Really nice cat. I don't like cats, but I like Maine Coons. They're very dog-like. I don't know. They're just fun. They're fun cats. Anyway, let's focus back on the story. Pumpkin Pie Addict, I blame you entirely for making me into the racist that I am. I used to love minions. I used to consider them my closest friends and compatriots of life, and now I just don't like minions at all. I blame you. I blame you for your story that turned me racist. We'll do Octavian memories, we'll do. Yeah, they're nice, aren't they? And Bone. What the fuck did I miss? It's all your fault, Pumpkin Pie Addict. As you said, your story brings out just lots of racism. that's also true. It is Carmen's alter ego. Break your cup now. Ooh, tempted, but then I'll have nothing to drink tea from. As tempted as I am to break my cup. Going to be in the back cover. Alrighty, let's push on. Someone beat us to him. Wright moved his flashlight to the cabin's side window. He watched the rain pour into the smatterings of tall grass outside. If you want rain here, good to establish this earlier on. Or you can make the rain fresh and new. Hi, Brandon. Hello. He watched the rain pour onto the smatterings of tall grass outside. His guards continued searching the house, but Wright kept his flashlight on the window, not blinking. He didn't blink. I quite like that. It's nice and simple. He saw a shuffle in the bushes and smirked. He coughed again and pointed the guards towards the window. Two of the guards pointed their guns towards the window. The other three remained on Right. Now we've got a couple of repetitions here of things like window, window, here, and one thing I remember from the last time I edited your story was that oftentimes you will start lots of your sentences with the pronouns, and this is one, the first time in this story here, and what we've been working through, right, 50 sessions. Yeah, so we just got lots of repetition of he. And his. Whereas in the first page we really didn't. We had lots of really nice sentences that worked on different pronouns. We got a few he's and hises, but like so instead we got back. The red brick was right stomp. So maybe because of sentences like it smelled like someone had died, the smell of pine didn't mix. The less and less you no, it's the reverse. The more sentences you put in that don't start with a pronoun, the better the flow of your story improves. So I think to fix it, you probably just want to do things like Wright moved his flashlight to the cabin's side window. Rain poured down with a fury from outside, something like that. So he watched you can get rid of and put like rain poured onto the smattering tall grass outside. Behind his guards continued to search the house, but the sergeant kept his flashlight on the window, not blinking. He didn't blink. He saw a shuffle, the bushes, and smoked. This is fine. These little sort of short sentences here with he, but you see we've got he didn't blink, he saw a shuffle, he coughed again. So you want to I don't know if it's appropriate to have him cough again, but we'll try and something like that, for instance. It gets the same effect across with without using he. Also, you get rid of the repetition with this happens, and that happens, and that happens, and that happens, and that happens. Everything's happening. Um, okay, so two of the guards pointed their guns towards the window. The other three remained on right. Unsure as to what's going on here. Are they covering? And then we immediately launch ourselves into dialogue. Now this is where I don't want a back-ended dialogue tag for a couple of reasons. We've got 1, 2, 3 sentences here. Right shouted. So if we don't intuit the fact that Right is shouting up until this point here, then it's not going to be sensible to have it sort of back-ending here. What I want instead is to have not only this information brought to the front, but also an explanation of why the sergeant is shouting through a window to a man outside who is in the dark, in the rain. Can the sergeant even project his voice that loudly? So, maybe get Right to open the window, or he'll smash. It's missing a little chunk here where Right has to do something in order to make his voice heard. Yep, that's what I sort of got here. But then it sounds like he's then shouting at the person who's escaping. Come now, Grim, you're a wanted man. Don't make this hard. I can hurt you real bad. Put your hands up, make it easy on yourself. Right smirked to his team. He saw one of his people roll their fingers along the trigger of their gun. Another guard gave a toothless smirk. Right returned his gaze to the tall grass. Perhaps I wasn't clear. The CIA asked my little old bounty squad to take their agent home. They offered quite a bit of money to do it. And all things considered, our noses have been out in the damn cold too long looking for you. You sure did make this easy. The silence persisted as Wright peeked at the corners of the cabin. That's a shame, he said, shaking his head. Go outside and bring him to me. So he needs to, add who he's talking to here. Comma shaking his head. We probably need a visual response too, so... Classic old Toothy. The name is ironic. He doesn't have any teeth. Maybe give him 6 teeth. I don't know. Up to you. We need a bit more here about who Wright is interacting with. If it's a shadow outside who is on the run for their lives, it's unlikely that that person's just going to stop and be like, I'll listen to you, I'll hear you out. It's probably that they're just they're running, in which case this dialogue here needs to be tempered to what's going on with the shadow. If the shadow is standing still, then yeah, you can probably get away with this expositionary sense of dialogue. Otherwise, don't include it. Or just have something a bit shorter. Two guards ran out of the cabin as Wright edged closer to the window. Again, he beamed his flashlight at the bushes. Now, this didn't happen at the first time. This hasn't happened before, so we can't use again. Guiding the light along the grass running up the property, he saw an outline of something large with two yellow eyes shining in the dark. It was staring straight at him. Whatever it was ready to pounce. Wright stepped backwards in a hurry and tripped over his feet. He crashed onto the floor, his flashlight spinning in every direction through the cabin until it settled onto Wright's face and blinding him for a moment. I want cut into his eyes. You could get that instead. Cut blinding streaks into his vision. If it's a blinding streak, it means he's blinded. A wolf howled. Okay, so it's a wolf, but I'm a bit confused as to the position of these characters. So Wright is inside the cabin. Wolfie is along a bank of bushes outside, which I assume are around 10 meters away. I'm gonna convert that into imperial. Hang on. 393 inches, or 1201 stapler containers. Also, M has to be small m. There we go. Yes, so the point about that is, there you go. Use meters too. Oh, very, very good. Oh, you're Canada. That's why. Okay. Oh, good. Well, I'll get rid of my anti-metric snark then, and just put 10 meters. You belong to a sensible country, my friend. A sensible, wise country that use proper measurements. Now, I don't want to point any fingers, America, but I do want to make note of some countries that do not, for whatever reason, and I don't cast any aspersions on America or other countries that choose to be silly, but yeah, sometimes you just, what the hell is an inch? What's a yard? What's a gallon? What's a decimeter? It's a tenth of a meter. Yeah, think about that. We don't use decimeters. That's actually, yeah, like for all the talk of the metric system, sometimes there's just stuff we don't use, like a decimeter. Which is a tenth of a meter. One thing that the imperial system does do that's really interesting is give me like 50 cc's of give me 50 cc's of liquid Doritos stat. Now a cc is a cubic centimeter, which, for whatever reason, is an imperial measurement for a milliliter. So you're basically, in some cases, using the metric system without realizing it. Anyway, I'm sorry, I got distracted. So in my head, the bushes were coming up from under the window, right? So it rattles, so he's seeing Grim was in those bushes. Ah, okay, good clarification. So what we need to do then is establish just how far the bushes are away from, in order for you to execute this scene properly. Or not properly, but in order for you to execute this scene as how you imagine it, it's a good idea to establish where the objects are in relation to each other using markers. The metric system is racism rants. It's an eclectic mix here on Lyrebird Edits, you know. We cover all topics, from racial slurs to units of measurement. Why did we even start talking about racial slurs? Somebody here was talking about raccoons, which are the most racist of animals too. Like if you order all the animals in order from least to most racist, it's obvious who falls to the top. Raccoons. Liquid Doritos. Yes. Oh dear. Can you be racist against the imperial system? Yes. Just like you can be racist against minions. Hmm. I have discovered that I am racist against minions. I don't know how to feel about this. I'm gonna have a long look at my life. Reevaluate my life choices. But yeah, in all seriousness, maybe it's not so good to joke about racism. We should probably get back on track. I will, however, joke about the imperial system. It sucks, okay? The imperial system sucks. He saw the outline of something large with two yellow eyes shining in the dark. It was staring straight at him. So we need to establish where things are in relation to each other. So he beamed his flashlight at the bushes. Now I think we need to establish where these are. And probably the thing that we can tie this into really neatly is probably here. Here's where the flashlight was on the bushes for the first time. Sergeant kept his flashlight on the window, not blinking. He didn't blink. He saw a shuffle in the bushes and smirked. So here is probably a good place to establish just how far these bushes are away. Something like this, for instance, it's a bit clunky, but if you declare where it is in relation to the house, now the reason why you put, again, he beamed his flashlight at the bushes was because I think maybe in your mind, with the description before, right, was shining his light on the window and therefore at the bushes outside. However, it actually reads like he keeps his flashlight on the window. So he's inside shining a light on the window, not strictly pressing the flashlight against the glass and shining it outside. It's a bit of a slight, subtle distinction there, and as a reader, we haven't been primed to understand that he was actually shining on the bushes. Um, I think this is okay in terms of how he reacts to it. The guards ran back inside, their feet thundering along the wooden planks of the cabin. He just appropriates Minion culture with his mug. I'm a culture vulture. I'm an awful human being. It's rich and ancient Minion culture. Oh no, I'm sorry. I feel bad about this. Not about being racist against minions. Minions are horrible, but um, yeah. I don't know. It feels a bit on the nose joking about it. I feel guilty. My apologies to anyone out there who was taken aback. What was I gonna say? Doing? What was I doing? Where am I? Oh, supermarket run. Nice one. Thanks for joining us, Ernst Herringbone. Thank you for the company. We'll catch you next stream. Enjoy the supermarket run. The guards ran back inside, their feet thundering along the wooden planks of the cabin. One of the guards offered a hand. Wright slapped it back. The superior, but Wright slapped it back. You don't strictly need to their superior. You can just have but. I put a but instead of a comma there. The guards ran back inside, their feet thundering along the wooden planks of the cabin. The guards ran back inside, their feet thundering along the wooden planks of the cabin. The guards offered back. Force the damn place would have wolves. Kill them if you find them. Full stop. He said as he stood up and dusted himself off. You can put a comma there, small h, that's okay. It's back-ended, but it... So for instance, you could just do that, not have a break there. And just put as he stood up and dusted himself up. What if I like my wolves? A voice shouted from a room down the long hallway. Not gonna shoot a wolf for a lonely retiree like me, are you? Like me, comma, are you? Just move that around. Morning, Sayaka. Hello. We start at, it's 10:26 my time. Start at 9 on these days. I do have a shiny new announcement channel, but yeah, I really only use it if I cancel things. I suppose I can announce if I'm starting. I should have I wonder if I can link in my Twitch. You know how it says like if you're playing a game, it comes up with what game you're playing. How do I do that with Discord and OBS? Anyway, I'll make sure that I, in the future, announce that I'm starting the stream. If you ever wonder when I'm starting, I do have the countdown on my page as well. Fat sausage. Cool. That's pretty nice actually. When I start, people get notifications. Cool. The Wild West of YouTube. YouTube was a mistake. What if I like my wolves? A voice shouted from a room down the long hallway. I had to just reconfiguring this here. So, for scenes like this to work, where a new character comes in from off screen, we need to have established a setting beforehand. So when men first come inside, the cabin, we need enough of a mental floor plan in order for the characters to appear from the woodwork later on. Secondly, what we need to do is also probably good to front end the dialogue here so that the reader is aware of who is talking. What if I like my wolves? When I read that, I'm like, is one of the guards giving lip back to the sergeant? A voice shouted from the long hallway. So what you need to do is probably take from down the long corridor in shadow trickled forth a voice, all low and trickled forth a voice of gravelly quality, something like that. And then etc, etc, etc. That kind of structure would sort of lift up the introduction of this new character here. You set the bar so low for now. I'll get to these in a tick, Psycho. 1 second. Just give me 1 sec. A phone that makes noise? What's the world coming to, honestly? Right reached for his flashlight and shined it down the hallway where the voice shouted. His unit followed. Yeah, this is a bit of a clunky sentence here. Right, so right tapped on his guard's shoulder and directed them to open the rooms to the left and to the right of the hallway. They searched the rooms, overturning tables, patting the floors, and flipping over the mattress. Right stood in the doorway, flashlight beaming between the two rooms, watching the process. His voice came from here, but he's not? This doesn't make sense. I'd like maybe a bit of repetition here of nothing but shadows, nothing but shadows. It's good to declare the outcome of investigations like this, and that way you can solidly link between your ideas. How many men were you with precisely? I too wanted to know this, real Sayaka. Also, I might read your thing first before I dive headlong into actually reading it out loud. I think that'd be a sensible thing. Also, welcome to the stream, Zebu's1999. Hello. Good to see you. We're editing Pumpkin Pie Addict's story. We're about 2 pages in, I think. Yep. It's called Cabin in the Woods. Or at least this chapter is. PPA, is the story called Grim Dreams? Is that the title that you've settled on? But yeah, what we do here is we get people's stories and we work through them line by line, make suggestions, do some edits. Yes, welcome. Matt Thunder says, is the story about cock? It's set in the woods in with a cabin. Now I assume there'd be a few fowl running around, maybe a few roosters, a few hens. I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes, but don't hold your breath. We haven't seen any fowl yet. Grim Dreams for now. A Cabin in the Woods or The Angel You Meet. A Cabin in the Woods is there's a horror movie called Cabin in the Woods, so maybe in order to not affiliate yourself too much with the horror genre, maybe go with The Angel You Meet. And that's a bit more sort of enticing. A Cabin in the Woods, maybe... I don't mind either, but maybe The Angel You Meet is more character focused, so maybe that's more interesting. What do you guys think? The other thing I'd like to look at is... It does have a bit of a horror vibe to it, like a very soft one. But I do get more of an action sense to the story, like that it's a story that is firmly within the action genre. I want to comment on this paragraph here. They search the rooms, overturning tables, padding floors, and flipping over the mattress. Now this is quite a declarative description of events that happens quite quickly. We go from having this mystery character who vocalizes their presence, but then, right, and his guards turn, they can't find this person, we don't know if this person is male or female, judging from their voice alone. And then Wright goes on a search to find or track down this person, but they're just not there. Now, Wright tapped on the guard's shoulder and directed them to open rooms to the left and right of the hallway. You could write a couple of extra sentences between here and here that flesh out the movement of the guards. So right now it's a little too quick. It's sort of, how to put this, it dumps the information on you in a declarative fashion. But I don't think that kind of serves story too strongly. Red stood in the doorway, like was watching the process, nothing but shadows. Maybe even a simple linker sentence like the men. I'm a bit torn here because in one sense I want this to be shorter. No, sorry, longer, not shorter. I'm gonna get rid of they search the rooms, that's tripping me up a little bit. So, right to the cultural and change them to open the rooms to the left and right of the hallway. I don't want to put a semicolon there. This is passive, but I don't really care. Tables were overturned. Reconfiguring this paragraph so that it reads a bit more like a connected series of events that have a bit more sort of flesh to them. The men broke down the doors and flooded throughout the home. Wright stood in the hallway, flashlight beaming between the two rooms, watching the process unfold in organized chaos. Tables were overturned, mattresses flipped, wardrobes gutted and emptied. Now this is a passive sentence here, but I think because we've had so much active sentences, so many active sentences before this one, but I think it may be justified in kind of cramming them together. Being at the source of the voice was nowhere to be seen, nothing but shadows. Repetition of here, that might work. Yeah. Hey, Adi Safari. Hi, welcome back to the stream. Let me go up and say hi to people that I've been ignoring. Hang on. Give me a sec. I think, what Outrider and Justin Toons, hi Justin Toons, by the way, what you guys were talking about with some foreshadowing may be really good to add in too. If you want to make it a bit more psychological, some foreshadowing is a really quick and easy way to do that. I don't know if we have enough of it here right now. Let's give that some thought. How does it have to break in a few paragraphs for editing reasons? That's okay. We'll be gentle as we go through. So be mean. Psycho makes a point here about the dialogue. He's not here in the cabin, I mean, both rooms, I mean. He's not here, sir, a guard said. It depends. I think I sort of get the impression that this is a bit of a loose unit. Given that we've got old six teeth. This seems to be more of a sort of ragtag bunch of like ex-military current bounty hunters. That's the impression I get from the story. something like that. He's not here in the cabin. Like, it's probably better to push the information about who is talking before we get to the actual dialogue itself. Um, let's go back and talk about foreshadowing. There are a couple of sections where you can drip that in and have it be interesting. Add a little moment of anticipation here. These sorts of pre-events are great to use if you want to sprinkle in some foreshadowing or psychological stumbling blocks. So for example, before the charge explodes on the door, you could get right to see a shadow going around the backside of the house. You could get all sorts of different kinds of things happening here. But these little moments are really good to build on anticipation. Right now they're nameless, except for one that I've jokingly named Old Six Teeth, but don't think they have any names. 18th birthday, nice. Oh, well, I'm glad I can be part of your birthday celebrations. Happy 18th. That's really cool. Yes, happy birthday. And welcome to the world of responsibilities and suffering. Yep, it's all downhill from here. All downhill. What kind of things were you doing for your birthday? Everyone is incompetent. I got the impression that they weren't full-on military guys, yeah. You're calling it as that Dune ain't here. Right next to a fault. Pizza and ice cream cake sounds nice, though. I consider that a good birthday. Congratulations on the birthday. Hey, well, that was a quick IGA run. Do you have IGAs where you are, or is that a New South Wales only thing? What did you miss? We talked about talking about the wolf here that sort of sprung up. Blah, wolf, and right got blinded by his flashlight. He picks himself up again, and then there's this mysterious voice coming from somewhere in the house that we were trying to track down. Not too common. Do you guys have Safeway? Safeway. We have that in New South Wales. Rural districts. Ah, cool. You're in Ontario, nice. The Independent Grocers Association. Woo, Safeway! Let's all give a collective round of applause to Safeway for their commitment to quality goods, for delivering fresh foods and amazingly low prices every day. I'm now sponsored by Safeway, by the way. Also Squarespace, also Crunchyroll. I think, yeah, it's the same company, isn't it? Sponsor this man now. If there are any sponsors out there who would like to sponsor me, I don't think I could be a convincing sponsor. I'd be, well, I guess I shouldn't knock it till I try it. But it has to be targeted too. It can't be like, and you know what Lyrebird edit likes. Oh gosh, let me reconfigure my words. After a long, hard day of editing, there's nothing that Lyrebird edits likes more to do than to sit back, relax, and shave. Just get a really close kind of shave. And there's nothing more that I hate than irritation. So you know what you need? You need Lyrebird branded aftershave cream. It's like if it needs to match up with what I do as a Twitch editor. I can't be spruiking shaving cream. A bit of guerrilla advertising. Exactly. You have a Dollar Shave Club. Exactly. That's what I was thinking about. Because they sponsor lots of podcasts, and it's like you're in the middle of a murder podcast. I don't listen to murder podcasts, but I was with a friend in their car. They were listening to one, and then like halfway through this murder podcast, they're like, "Hey, I'm sponsored by someone who sells shaving cream." It's like you talk about murders. Wow, how are they? What's the link between murders and shaving cream? I don't know. Yeah, but exactly, it's the Dollar Shave Club that came up. TTLACC. It seems like if you operate a podcast, you advertise the Dollar Shave Club. If you operate any YouTube video, it's Squarespace or Crunchyroll. Actually, yeah, true. It'd be a pretty weird murder weapon, but I guess there have been worse murder weapons. A straight razor. Thank you, Sayaka, for the offer of sponsorship. I am a commercial-free man. I am my own free thing. And then next week you'll see me like spruiking every product imaginable. Good pitch, bruh. Barnes and Noble, yeah. See, that's a sensible pitch. That bit would be like, you guys like books? No, no, of course you don't. Books? On a channel about editing writing? Oh, no way. Finding a manga within the cabin. Oh dear. World of Tanks, good point. Yes, I did forget World of Tanks. Okay, let's get back in. Um, what do you mean? Listen for his voice and check again. Wright replied, not realizing he had pulled one of his guard's collar in his hand. Um, I suggest breaking this up into a second sentence. Um, I get rid of Wright replied. Oh, not realizing he had pulled one of his guard's collar in his hand. I don't know if that works. I like what it's going for, but pulling it off convincingly is quite difficult. Just because of the style of narration, I think. If this was first person, it would be a little easier to couch that information in with their limited perception of the scene. I don't think it works with third person narration as strongly as it may do if it was written a different way. That's what we were going for, pulling a guard to him by the scruff of his collar. What I didn't like about it is the not realizing part. Also, thank you for using an S in your realization. PumpkinPieAddict. This is the correct way to spell. Take note, all the Americans in my chat box. can I ban this guy? I can time you out. Nah, I won't do that. I believe in forgiveness. I believe in second chances. I want you to be better, Outrider SG. That's all I want. It's called English, you Americans. TTLACC, you too. That's right, and I think that's the sentence that's the impression I got of what you were trying to do. The way it was written though. What do you mean? Listen for his voice and check again. See, this is the same impression. It took Brad a moment to realize that he was shaking his subordinate by the collar. It's the whole black bag thing. It's pushing information back over the scene, but if you can do it quickly enough, it may work. Not realizing he had pulled one of his guard's collar in his hand. Maybe why this is a little weaker is because he had pulled sounds a bit passive. It took him right a moment to realize that he was shaking his subordinate by the collar. It's a more active sentence. If you want to convey that, I'm happy to maybe leave that in and see how you think, how you feel about it. Come on, Grim, if you want that wolf alive, we'll hunt it down and spread its corpse all over this house, he shouted in the general direction of the hallway. Come out, Grim. The sergeant... I didn't misspell swore. What on earth, Google? Come on. Pick up your game, Google. Add swore to dictionary. Occasionally, it's good to just set the tone, or the emotional tone of your characters, to sort of check in on what they may be thinking and feeling. This is one of those sentences that tells you detail, but it's kind of welcome after the letdown of a letdown. After the when the climax of a scene comes to its conclusion, it's good to sort of reiterate what the character may be feeling. Say keep up, sorry. Yeah, exactly, it's frustration. It's microaggression, or macroaggression. I really just want to hone home the fact that, I don't know what's happened to Right. Or if we think that, so, what if I like my wolves? A voice shouted from down the long hallway. Like me, are you? So, upon reading this, I'm reading this, I assumed we were about to see a new character, like a competitor bounty hunter. The competitor bounty hunter. Instead, I think you wanted to give the impression that this is Grim. But as a reader, we don't know. So I'm in the dark as to who this is, this new character that's being introduced. Furthermore, I'm also a little unsure as to... is Grim still visible? Is he running away? Is he standing still? Give us another update on Grim. Has he fully vanished now? You need to do this in order for not only the reader to have a sense of where Grim is in relation to your right, but also in the sense that if you want to reintroduce Grim as sort of like this taunting figure who's in the house, not really in the house, it needs to make sense for the reader as to where that character is. So that's what I recommend, just having a little think about here about how Grim... So to be clear, Grim hasn't been seen at any point until that moment. Do you mean these moments here? Like the shadow outside? Or... We'll hunt it down and spread its corpse all over the house. You can get rid of that. Wright walked over various piles of shirts, plates of leftovers, broken lamps, and pillows en route to a closed closet. Two guards gripped their guns and pointed at the closet. Right nodded. He pulled the door open, revealing a speaker wedged between two boxes. Okay, here's the reveal. Ah, right, so the shadow was the wolf. He saw a shuffle in the bushes not 5 meters from the house and smirked. So, you're right, like, a shuffle in the bushes, for whatever reason, I identified this shuffle as Grim. You can start it off like this with an unknown, but then the more and more that Wright plays with this shadow, and blur, it's a wolf down here, right? But just here and here, as a reader, I have no reason to suspect that it's a wolf. Instead, I'm primed to suspect that it's Grim. But the fact we have no response here, and then blah, it's a wolf, you can really play with this a little more. Just give us slightly more updates about what's going on with this bush. If it's too still, maybe Wright can doubt himself. Oh, is it Grim? Is it something else? What is it? If it's not Grim, who is it? Give us a little more sort of reasonable lines of inquiry such that we can make a valid judgment call on whether or not this is in fact Grim or if it's something a bit spoopy. We brought some Pokeballs with him. Never reads. Interesting. Never reads sounds very lush. I like that. Maybe get Rice to walk around the room a little more. Just one sentence about like Wright trying to reorient himself, trying to sniff down. And then two guards gripped their guns and pointed at the closet. Two cards came to a halt. Everyone turned. Give me a second, I'm just Okay, this is kind of the taking the basic elements of the scene and drawing it out into something that's a little more emotionally engaging. What we had before was three lines that were more or less. Um, I'll go back to what it was before. Uh, Wright walked over various piles of shirts, plates of leftovers, broken lamps, and pillows en route to a closed closet. Two guards gripped their guns and pointed at the closet. Wright nodded. He pulled open the door, revealing a speaker wedged between two boxes. "He's using a microphone," Wright shouted. Now, this scene here is quite sort of factual. It's quick. The pace is a little too quick. Very much too quick, in my opinion. And that's a good thing because you can, as a writer going back to edit this, you can just write more over it and it will become stronger. So what I suggest doing instead is reconfiguring the whole structure of it so that it's this. We'll hunt it down and spread its corpse all over this house. Silence. Then you get Wright to walk around the room a little more, trying to sniff out the source of the voice. Suddenly, you don't need to suddenly, two guards came to a halt, their attention caught by something across the room. I think a numbers station is calling my phone. Creepy. That is very creepy. Um. Two guards came to a halt, their attention caught by something across the room. Everyone turned. There, in the corner, a closet. A closet. Closed. The guards raised their weapons, trained upon the wood. Wright nodded. Inching forward, slow, steady, silent. Wright reached out and rested his fingers against the handle of the wardrobe. Sorry, it's a closet. In one clean motion, he threw the door open, ready to lurch inside. Emptiness. Full stop. Save for a collection of wires, a battery, a speaker. You can make it a fragment or just put that like that. So this here, not only is it longer, but it actually slows the scene down and really ramps up the expectation that this here is the climactic moment of chapter 1 so far. Like, you can have other climaxes later, but if you think about what all of this is leading up to, the team have pushed their way inside the cabin, they've tried to search for Grimm, he's not there, and they think they found him. This point here is like the focal crux. Slow it down, give us more detail, make your sentences of varying length, make it interesting, creep towards the conclusion, and bam, that's where you finish it. Am I secretly a member of the Australian Armed Forces? I'm not allowed to answer that. Let me go back and read. Could you imagine me in the Australian Armed Forces? They'll make fun of me. They'll laugh at me. I'm I'm definitely too much of a nerd. I'm I'm going back and reading up the stream chat log. So bear with me for a second. Um. Psycho asks, any fun Australian news you can make us privy to, liar? Um, we had a by-election recently. Um, 5 of them back to back, and it's because we have a rule in Australia that if you are a serving member of parliament, you cannot have citizenship of another country. It's a bit of an archaic rule. What it meant was that people who were second or first generation Australians that were serving in parliament who had rights to be citizens of another country and who didn't renounce their citizenship of that other country were ineligible for parliament, so they were illegally elected. So we had all of these by-elections recently to clean that up. Really odd stuff had happened. Because a lot of people were like, no, I'm not a dual citizen. I've always been Australian. Next minute, they're actually like an Italian citizen by descent. It's weird. We have lots of weird rules about citizenship, so we had lots of elections yesterday. And that's my news. And the Roos are out kicking. PumpkinPieAddict says, my stories always make Lyrebird look like he's about to melt down in anger. No, no, absolutely not. There's no anger here. This is a face of pure editing nirvana. I love this. I love this. Because there's a lot to chew and tackle, and it's a really good way to, I think, work through a story. I hope I don't come off as angry. I'm certainly in no way frustrated by this or angry about it. It's a lot of fun working through it. Because I love the base of stories and I love making them shine. So if there's lots to talk about, then that's good. Sayaka says, my stories just make him look like he wants to die. Some of your stories, Sayaka, some of your stories that are purposefully designed to make me want to die. Your proper stories, though, are quite good. At least the one I've seen, which is what I'm judging you on. I anticipate 0 edits of my story. It's God tier, says Outrider SG. Mm-hmm. Sure thing, buddy. Sure thing. What do the numbers mean? The Groit ADF. Oh dear. Like it says that the description of the inside of the closet is wrong. There are far too few skeletons. PPA will have to be the decision of how many skeletons appear in closets. It's his story. You can choose how many. You're too precious to die, liar. Oh, thank you. We are all too precious to die. All life is precious. Interesting, PPA. I'm debating walking my dog and commenting on my phone. That will be a first. I know that Sean has dogs, but I don't know if Sean's ever walked and commented on Twitch. Walked with dogs. Oh yeah, and Bone says we recently banned plastic bags from supermarkets. Yeah, and everyone lost their minds. They did. They did lose their minds. Oh, you guys did something similar. Interesting. We'll go another 20 minutes, I think. Um, yeah, I saw that Outrider SG. You made mention of that on Discord. That's really cool. That's nice. Yeah. Sort of like accidental artist. No, that's really cool though. You should take pride in that. Alright, catch you later, Ernst. Good to see you. We'll catch you next time. You stand in the backyard. Yeah, that counts. Let's get back to the edit then. Let's get back. Yes, we banned plastic bags and everyone just couldn't deal with it. I'm gonna stop at 11:30 my time. This story is thousands of words long. How long have we been going for in word length count? About 1,500 words. It's been a pretty chunky 1,500, so I think we've done a lot of work on this. Paper bags, we just charge money for them now. The plastic bags. Or they're selling canvas bags. So if you go there and you forget to bring your own, they're like, oh, buy our canvas bags. I think, look, I don't love plastic bags. I think we should really switch. But there are like situations where you need to just get something quick, and a canvas bag's not practical to take with you. Ah, see. No, I'm sorry, Sayaka. Also, I don't want to broadcast your fanfic without screening it first. If there's a long and drawn out sex scene. So, no offense meant to you, but I think we may curtail the reading of your wonderful fanfiction. pop it into Discord where people can peruse it at their own leisure. But broadcasting it is maybe not what I want to do. Yeah, 20k chapter would be very big. Fanfic review. TTLACC, that seems like it's an untapped market. Don't you reckon? I'm not saying that I should do it. I'm just saying that someone may want to take the baton of what could be NSFW fanfic review. That would be an interesting Twitch stream. Carrot a fanfic of your fanfic. Oh dear. Just give me a sec. I want to just go do something real quick. Back in a sec. Alrighty, let's do a little more. We've got about 15 minutes before I want to wrap up. And then we'll go forward. He's using a microphone, right, Charted? Sorry, I misled you about the whole wolf thing. I have trust issues. Grim said his voice echoing from the speakers and then suddenly coming from far away. What I'd like here is from the other end of the line. Grim's, I think it's double M, isn't it? Oh, Grim's voice came from the speakers and then suddenly coming from far away. Now I don't know what that means. It's coming through the speakers and then suddenly from very far away. Like, is Wright also hearing it? Wright turned his head trying to place Grim's voice, but coming out of the speaker, a female voice started singing in a song. Started. Okay, gotcha. Bingo. So then what Grim's... So what I would suggest doing is something like this. Like a soft doubling. Yeah, I see what you're doing. I don't think I don't notice. But something caught Wright's attention, like a soft doubling. As if the voice itself were coming from close by, still within the house. Mistimed can be hyphenated like that. Right turn his head, comma. Trying to play Scrim's voice, but coming out of a speaker. Thank you. Feel free to use that. I didn't see anything, PumpkinPieAddict. I saw nothing. Right turn, he said trying to play Scrim's voice, but coming out of a speaker. Now was a female voice. Trying to play Scrim's voice. One that started singing a song, or one that sing-songed. You can even put something like that. In the night I searched for you, always playing hard to get. The song was up-tempo, a jazz-like feel. You can even put up-tempo, a jazz-like feel. It's a bit of a... ooh, sorry, I'm butchering that word. It's a bit of a fragment, but I think you can justify it. Heartbreak time. Okay, I'll be soft. Riot clenched his teeth and gripped his flashlight. He wasn't feeling it. Is this some sort of game to him? Right thought. I'm gonna get rid of the right thought. So quick heartbreak lesson for writers everywhere. Don't quote any copyright music. We can't make any money. Even a line of a song you cannot use. The original song was Can't Get Enough of Your Love by Barry White. So great, and set the mood. Imagine this action scene said about song. Ah, interesting. Is that true? A quick heartbreak lesson for writers. You can't quote copyrighted music? My darling, I can't get enough of your love, babe. And I don't know. Good song. Really good song. Would this be covered under fair use if you wanted to oh, it's a United States thing, but if you publish on Amazon, that's a United States thing. Let me fair use, however, is only for review and criticism, things like that. Thank you for the excellent singing. Thank you, Mookie Mike. Or Mookie MC. I'm not a singer, but I'm glad that my singing has touched your heart. I swear it's mostly editing that I do, and occasionally I'll break out in song. Welcome to the stream. That's your first impression of Lyrebird edits. Yeah, I didn't really think too hard about whether or not including copyrighted material would get your story pinged. In which case, yeah, good call for reconfiguring the words. You could even do if you don't want to quote it, you could even do. You could even sort of weave it in to your narrative. So like, is that Barry White? Up-tempo, jazz-like feel. And then you could try and weave the lyrics of a story into the narrative. A little difficult here, but you could make a mention of it. The Lyrebird sings. You could potentially just name drop it, and then work small snippets of the lyrics into the descriptions. This is called a pastiche. which is a very wanky word, but it sort of means like a smattering, and that avoids copyright. Oh, I press cancel. Ugh. Oh, damn it. Ah. You can name. Oh, it's never as good the second time. You can name drop the song and weave the lyrics themselves into the narrative. This is a pastiche, which I didn't spell right again. Okay. If you wanted to, yeah. Want to sing national anthem for us? No, our national anthem is not very rousing. Writing a huge chunk of detail about a line, only for someone else to delete that line and undo everything you've typed. Fair point. Yeah, I shouldn't complain, seeing as that's exactly what I do to people. I'm the bringer of misery. No, I'm the bringer of friendly suggestions. Yeah. I reckon you can definitely name the song. Um, Direct quoting the lyrics maybe not so much, but yeah, maybe as a pastiche. I don't know. I'll leave that one on to a chat box here though. Um, okay, found him right shouted. One of the guards shot at the speaker as the rest spread through the cabin. They checked the ceiling and found another speaker. The guard shot at it, but the song continued. So if you want to sort of quote here, then you can push down the quoting of the fictitious song. Otherwise, you could name drop it as Barry White and then have it as a bit of pastiche all the way through here. It sounds like there are only 2 points where there are quoted lyrics. So I'm gonna get rid of. Whoops. Oh, lag. Sorry, that was me moving my phone around. Sector clear. Oh dear. Yeah, no, it should be okay now. I just moved my phone back and forth. Thank you for letting me know. He wasn't feeling it. I'm not loving. It feels a bit too casual, maybe for the tone of this scene. You can just get rid of it. Find him right shouted. One of the guards shot at the speaker. They shot at it, but the song continued. Every day I find you, gonna catch you in my net. Don't you know the price on his head? Shoot into these rooms, flush him out. I can't hear you over the music, Sergeant. One of the guards shouted. Probably a good idea to here. Also make note of the volume. Ear splitting, annoying, soft, and that way, when later on in the story down here you make mention of the guards, it's a bit more sort of, it's fluid between the time that we establish the music and the time we get to understanding, but it's really loud. Yes, I am. I'm using my phone signal. I broadcast over my phone. Because it's Australia. Say no more. Yeah, it's true. My phone is faster than my home internet connection. Make of that as you will. Very bad. They're bad because we have a very big range to cover, and a government that's not at all interested in supporting fiber connections to the premises, because there's a lot of politics there involving some corruption from Rupert Murdoch. Damn Rupert Murdoch. But yeah, it's one thing has led to another, and we have a very haphazard distribution of fiber internet within Sydney. I'm still on ADSL 2 connections. You can get cable through Foxtel, but like I resent that. So here I am on my phone, and it broadcasts 4G, and it's fine. But it means that if I sit on my phone, I can't broadcast as effectively as I could if I put my phone on my computer. Yeah, yeah, exactly, right. You can as hard as you want. Yeah, you guys have the what is it? That's the FCC stuff, right? Yeah, that's a bit scary. Yay! At least we don't have Tony Abbott anymore. He's still there. He's in the background, eating his onions, smuggling the budgies. Yeah, he wasn't a good PM. Um, we're about halfway through. Um, yeah. And no, that's totally fine, Milky MC. You can ask as many questions as you want. Um, we do get a little bit distracted here sometimes, but yeah, no, if you have anything to ask, then always feel free. It probably would burn, yeah. Not great for the cells in my body. Um, I want to read through until here, and then I'll call it quits for the stream. Um, Finding Get Me My Mo. A loud explosion drowned out Wright's voice. The concussive blast sent Wright and the bounty unit onto the floor. Wright was able to open his eyes, but it looked like the world was flipped upside down. His ears rang, and the smell of the roasted almonds filled his nostrils. The cigar rolled out of his pocket up to his nose. Its sharp scent jolted him back like a car battery. Wright rolled over and stretched his arms, reaching for one of the bounty's rifle. Bounty man's? His bountyman's rifle. He saw... Men's rifle. He saw the outline of someone making their way out of the cabin. He wore a long brown coat over his brown shirt and grey pants, held up by a rope. Perhaps it was the coat giving him the appearance of someone in need of a burger or two, but he didn't look healthy. His hair was platinum white and messy, very messy and overgrown. His skin looked rough and olive. In his hand he carried a large black bag, but it was eyes. They were brown and they were looking out the door. The sergeant tried getting to his feet, looking over at his guards as they struggled to follow. Grim scurried from room to room, throwing things into his bag. The sergeant grabbed the rifle and hobbled over to Grim, tripping over every other step. The ringing in his ear was almost too much to handle. Wright struggled to aim his gun at Wright, but pulled the trigger anyway. He missed every shot. Wright collapsed face first onto the floor. His eyes were open enough to see Grim running past him, disappearing into the moonlight of the falling rain. The song still played, but sounded distorted. Now I want to talk a little bit about this. I won't dig too deep into the line by line. He saw the outline of someone making their way out of the cabin. He wore a long brown coat over his brown shirt and grey pants held up by a rope. Perhaps it was the coat giving him the appearance of someone in need of a burger or two, but he didn't look healthy. His hair was platinum white and messy. This sort of description dump from here to here is quite heavy. And because we've already picked up the rifle, I expect Wright to use that immediately. I suggest moving this here. New paragraph. In addition, looking over at his guards as they struggled to follow Grim. I'm not sure what to suggest here, if it's like that. As they struggled to follow. So arrived about blind. So I think so we are made to believe that this is Grimm. You can even tag on something like this at the end of your paragraphs here, and that would solidify the motive towards the end of what we're talking about here. Now, the other thing I'll suggest, Grimm scurried room to room throwing things into his bag. I'd suggest not doing that. I think you've set it up that Grimm is about to move out of the room, and instead of having Grimm just wander around collecting things, I think it would be smarter and more immediate if you just try and make him escape, and the sergeant grabs his rifle and tries to spray him with bullets, but Grimm escapes. I think that works a lot better than having Grimm just stumble around the room while the sergeant is doing the same. It reads a little bit too sort of how to put it, slow. It's a little unnecessary here. You've ramped up the pace and he's about to escape. You don't want to dial that back. You want to push it straight through into the action where Wright tries to use his gun to kill him. But then he's stumbling a little bit. So for example, he's already grabbed the gun. Sergeant tried to get to his feet, looking over at his guards as they arrived about blind. Wright struggled to aim his gun because he's already picked it up. Here. When he aims and fires, sprays, and misses. So we'll come back next time and read through all of that again. And just make sure it's all tight, and then we'll move on for the next stream. Now let me go back and read people's comments. Sorry, I was in the zone there. So shout out to the opening page. Yeah, I quite like those slightly campy moments where like little things will spark the characters back into action. Yeah, I don't mind it. This is in relation to the cigarette sort of waking him back up. Yeah, like sure, it's a little unrealistic and a little campy, but it's fun, so why not use it? Mookie MC, I see that you this is in relation to your his mouth watered like a cup of water clip, which I'm sure that Sayaka probably showed you, so that was a real treat to read Sayaka's story. But yeah, good to know how you found the stream. I have the purpose. I promise my angel it's not a sinky character. Like this we have a slightly interesting diversion before where we were talking about minions. All in good fun, all in good fun. But yes, I'm glad you're enjoying the stream, Rookie. Glad you're enjoying. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I like to embody that philosophy as well, I think. Lover. Yeah, here's where I am. I get the impression, Sayaka, that he's so conked out by the concussive blast of the explosion that he pulls the trigger anyway and sprays bullets. I don't mind the fact that it's quite quick. I think for an action story, I think it's justifiable, the pace here, but we'll come back to that next time and just have a bit more of a fine tune of this section. Yeah, and this section about the eyes, I think we can get rid of. That's right. So exactly as PPA says, when he gets up, he's still staggering. He's chasing off the effects of the concussive force. Deep black. Hmm. Okay, cool. I'm going to stop there, and this coming Thursday we will pick up from here. So, thank you, Pumpkin Pie Addict, for donating this story to be edited live over the stream. It's still yours. You haven't transferred any property rights to me. It's still all of your story. But yes, thank you for sending it over. And I'm enjoying seeing the first chapter, the origins of the story that we worked on so many months ago. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the action transpires in the second half of chapter one. Um, it's still my property. Ooh, ooh. Check out this fancy stop the prices. Yes, I have a Discord. Thank you, TTLACC. Thank you. You are my second brain, my administration brain. Yes, that's right. Go to my Discord. It's on the bottom of my the window that you're looking in right now. Just scroll down into the little information sections. Click on the Discord banner, and yeah, come and say hi. Interesting, guys. What's going on? Tell me. I'll wait. I'll sit here and wait, Sayaka. A liar and a thief. Perfervid. I'm almost certain that's not a word, but I really want it to be a word. Oh my god, it's a word. Wow. It means intense and impassioned. Perfervid. Wow. That's a cool word that I will probably never use. But wow. Hang on a second. Saika, is this true? Is this true? Have you been deceiving us all of this time? And what's this in the Discord? Ah, yeah, nice. TTLACC just posted the mouth watering like a cup of water clip in the Discord. That's a good clip. I feel betrayed, Sayaka. I don't know what to believe anymore. This is a real low point. And I hate to end the stream on such a low point, but this is gonna haunt me and follow me through the week. You've really hurt. It's the betrayal more than anything else. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed, okay? Unless I get paid. Yeah, I think we demand compensation from this, Sayaka, okay? Good stuff. Okay, well, with that as the conclusion, we can continue this on in Discord. But thank you for joining me, guys. Thank you for your lovely suggestions, and thank you for the new people as well who popped in and said hello. Join me in Discord, and we can continue the chats throughout the week. But I'll be back on Thursday, 9 p.m. my time, so it's 12 hours time difference from this stream. Thanks, Mookie MC. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you. We'll catch you all on Thursday then. All right, take care, guys.